You know, when we think about the worst punishments in history, our minds usually jump straight to the gory details. But in this explainer, we're going to go a little deeper than that. We're not just looking at what these punishments were, we're asking why they even existed in the first place. What do they tell us about the psychology of power, of control, and of fear?
Okay, let's just dive right in with this quote. It's talking about a practice called gibbeting. And what's so chilling here is that the punishment wasn't over when you died. Oh no, the whole point was the terrifying aftermath. The message was, we won't just kill you, we'll make your rotting body a public landmark for decades, a constant, grim reminder of who's in charge.
And this really gets to the core question of our entire analysis today. What's the real purpose of such drawn-out, elaborate cruelty? Is it really about justice, or is it something else entirely, like a carefully staged performance of power?
To figure that out, we're going to explore this huge shift in the psychology of punishment, from what was essentially a public theater of pain to a private kind of terror designed to completely break the soul.
All right, first up, punishments that were never, ever meant to be private. These were horrifying performances, and every single detail was designed for a captive audience, the public. The goal wasn't just to punish one person, it was to terrorize thousands.
Gibbeting is a perfect example of this. You had pirates hanging in cages in Boston Harbor, hundreds of them lining the roads in England. This was psychological warfare. The idea was every single person who walked or sailed by was supposed to look up at that cage and have one thought: that could be me. It was a constant, grisly ad for state power.
And these things were practically rituals. Take impalement. This slide breaks down the chilling process. Every step was calculated for maximum psychological impact. That paste to stop the bleeding? That wasn't some act of mercy. No. That was to prolong the agony, to keep the person alive and suffering for as long as possible, for the public to witness. You were being turned from a person into a gruesome roadside attraction.
But, this whole spectacle wasn't always about law and order. Sometimes it was just about pure ego. This quote, it refers to the fourth Mughal emperor of India. Apparently, he ordered mass executions by elephant just because, well, he was bored. In this case, the public display is all about one man's absolute, terrifying power over life and death.
And this is where you really see how the performance could be customized. You had your quick method, sure. Then there was a clumsier method. And then you had the truly sadistic, theatrical route. Getting a trained elephant to crush someone limb by limb wasn't about efficiency. It was about creating a traumatic spectacle to show everyone watching that the ruler had total control, even over nature itself.
So what we're seeing here is this huge split, a real psychological divide. Public punishment was a spectacle. Its message was all about collective fear, a clear warning that this could be you. But, as we'll see, when punishment moved behind closed doors, the psychology completely flipped. It wasn't about scaring the crowd anymore. It was about the total annihilation of one person.
Okay, so now we're leaving the big open town square, and we're heading into the dark, secret cell. The audience is gone. Punishment becomes this intensely personal, one-on-one affair, and the goal changes from scaring the masses to completely destroying an individual's sense of self.
I mean, the name says it all, right? Oubliette, to forget. The whole point of the oubliette wasn't just to lock someone up. It was to literally erase them from existence. You were thrown in and forgotten, left to die with the skeletons of whoever came before you. It was the ultimate proof that the state could just make you disappear.
And the psychological torment was just meticulous. I mean, just try to imagine it. You're stuck in total darkness, in a space so cramped you can't even sit or lie down properly. And then, the cruelest part, you can hear the sounds of normal life, laughter, from the world just outside. It's this constant, torturous reminder of everything you've been cut off from forever.
And this quote right here, wow, describing the rat dungeon in the Tower of London, it just perfectly captures the essence of this private terror. The victim is in the dark. They can't see the rats. They can only hear them, hundreds of them, getting closer. See, the real horror wasn't the attack. It was the anticipation. It's the unseen threat that really truly breaks the mind.
And these secret punishments, they basically evolved into a kind of dark science. The objective wasn't just to cause pain or even to kill, it was to use pain as a precise tool to systematically dismantle a person's mind, to pull out information, and to force absolute compliance.
Take the rack, for instance.
A lot of people think it was for executions, but nope, it was an interrogation tool. The pain was applied slowly, methodically, turn by painful turn. The whole point was to find that breaking point, that moment where a prisoner would say anything, confess to crimes, name names, true or not, just to make it stop. It was this terrible battle of wills, fought right there on the victim's own body.
And the story of Anne Askew is just an incredible and incredibly tragic example of this. The officials dislocated every single joint in her body, but she never gave them the names they wanted. The fact that she never broke, that means the torturers actually failed. Their main goal wasn't to kill her. It was to break her will. And when they couldn't do that in private, they resorted to a final, public execution as a brutal show of force.
So things like the rack and the oubliette, they might sound like something straight out of a medieval history book, right? But the psychology behind them, using hidden, private terror to break an individual and maintain control, that never really went away. It just evolved.
Which brings us to a really chilling modern example. Under Augusto Pinochet's dictatorship in the 20th century, interrogators used a device, sometimes called a rectoscope. It was a tube with a rat inside, used to inflict unimaginable terror on a person. It's the exact same psychological playbook as the medieval rat dungeon, just updated and weaponized for secret modern interrogations.
And all of this kind of leaves us with one last, pretty unsettling question. This whole journey from the public gibbet to the secret torture chamber, it's not really a story of progress, is it? It's a story about how the tactics of control change. So maybe the real question isn't whether punishment got more humane. Maybe the question is, by moving it out of sight, did we just make it easier for all of us to ignore?